There are towns where you can still buy a house for less than the price of a used Tesla, and your monthly bills are so low you'll double-check if the power company made a mistake. Forget the $3,000 studio apartments and $7 lattes. In these places, you can actually breathe, own a home, and maybe even afford something crazy, like saving money. We're talking real towns, not ghost towns, with running water, grocery stores, and neighbors who might still wave at you instead of sending an HOA fine. One town on this list has mountain views for the cost of a good barbecue grill. Another lets you live near the beach without selling a kidney, and at least two are so cheap it feels like you've found a glitch in the housing market. But don't get it twisted. Cheap doesn't always mean perfect. Some of these towns come with weird weather, slow internet, and at least one place where the mosquitoes think you pay rent. So grab a coffee, hopefully not $7. Hit that like button, and let's break it down. 10 U.S. towns so cheap it feels like you're cheating the system. Number 10. Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, feels like someone hit pause in 1955 and forgot to press play. Historic brick buildings, quiet tree-lined streets, and a cost of living so low it honestly feels illegal. Median home price? Around $108,000. Rent? Around $600 to $800 a month, which is less than some people pay for parking in New York. Utilities, groceries, even insurance are all well below the national average. If you've been complaining about the economy while sipping $8 oat milk lattes, Johnstown is the slap in the face you need. But before you start packing, let's be real. Cheap comes with quirks. The job market is, let's say, retro. Unless you're in healthcare or remote work, opportunities are limited. And winters? Brutal. Snow piles so high you might lose your mailbox until April. Still picture this. You wake up in a 100-year-old brick house with creaky wooden floors, sip your $1 diner coffee, and look out at hills blanketed in mist. The town's old steel town grid is still there, but it's quiet now, almost peaceful. One local described it best on Reddit. It's like living in a history book, but at least you can afford the pages. Would you trade big city convenience for a mortgage smaller than your current car payment? Because in Johnstown, that's not a dream. That's Tuesday. Beckley, West Virginia. If you've ever wanted to live in the mountains without selling a kidney, Beckley, West Virginia, is your cheat code. Median home price? Around $140,000. That's less than some people's yearly rent in LA. And it's not just houses. Groceries, utilities, and even healthcare are cheap enough to make you wonder if they forgot to update their prices for 2025. Rent? Around $750 to $850 a month for a decent apartment, and many homeowners here have mortgages that look like typo errors. Now let's talk lifestyle. Beckley sits right in the Appalachian Mountains, which means misty mornings, rolling green hills, and trails that look like they belong on a postcard. You can hike before breakfast, grab $6 biscuits at a diner, and still have money left for gas. But here's the flip side. Beckley isn't exactly buzzing with excitement. The job market is limited unless you're in healthcare or remote work, and don't even think about bragging about your fast internet. Speeds here are more tortoise than hare. And winters? Cold, gray, and not great for anyone who hates scraping ice off their windshield at 6 a.m. Still picture this. You're sitting on a porch swing, mountains fading into the distance, and the only sound is birds. Not traffic, not sirens, just quiet. One local put it perfectly. If you want peace, this place gives it to you for half price. Would you give up big city chaos for cheap living and mountain air, so crisp it hurts your lungs? Beckley makes a strong case. Hattiesburg, Mississippi. If you've been dreaming of sweet tea, front porches, and rent so low it feels like a typo, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, might just be your jackpot. Median home price? Around $210,000. That's for an actual house, not a converted tiny home in someone's backyard. Rent? Around $900 to $1,200 a month, which in 2025 feels like stealing. Add in groceries and gas that cost less than half of what you'd pay on the coasts, and you start to wonder if Hattiesburg is operating in a completely different economy. Life here is slow, comfortable, and very southern. You'll find historic neighborhoods with big shady trees, barbecue joints that look like gas stations but serve life-changing ribs, and neighbors who call you Han, even if they just met you. Healthcare is surprisingly solid for a town this size, which makes it popular with retirees looking to stretch their social security checks. But, and there's always a but, the summers are brutal. We're talking hot, sticky. Your shirt turns into a napkin levels of humidity. The mosquitoes? Organized, aggressive, and possibly unionized. And if you're used to nightlife, forget it. Most places close early, and the most exciting Friday plan might be a high school football game. Still picture this. You're sitting on a porch swing at sunset, cicadas buzzing, sweet tea in hand, and your rent paid without panic. As one local put it, you don't come to Hattiesburg to be fancy. You come here to live without worrying about your wallet. So, would you trade fast-paced city life for cheap ribs, quiet nights, and summers that feel like soup? That's the Hattiesburg deal. McAllen, Texas. If you've ever wanted to live somewhere that feels like you're gaming the system, McAllen, Texas, is it. Median home price? Around $225,000, but plenty of solid houses sell closer to $180,000. Add no state income tax, and you're already saving money before you unpack your boxes. Rent? Around $900 to $1,000 a month for a decent apartment, and groceries are some of the cheapest in the entire country. Seriously, people from California would cry if they saw a McAllen grocery receipt. Life here is warm, literally. The winters are mild and sunny, which makes it a hot spot for retirees, snowbirds, and anyone tired of shoveling snow. And the food? Let's just say if you don't like tacos, you might not survive here. There's Tex-Mex on every corner, and it's all ridiculously affordable. But here's the trade-off. It gets hot enough in summer to make your car feel like a toaster oven. If you hate sweating, McAllen might test your patience. Also, while it's cheap, it's not exactly a nightlife capital. This is more family barbecues and quiet weekends than rooftop cocktails. Still, picture this. It's January, you're sitting outside in shorts, eating $3 tacos, and your rent isn't eating half your paycheck. One local described it perfectly. McAllen isn't fancy, but my bank account loves it here. Would you give up 4 seasons and big city chaos for endless sunshine, affordable living, and food that could ruin your diet forever? McAllen makes a strong case. Florence, Alabama. If you want small-town southern charm without small-town prices, Florence, Alabama is the sweet spot. Median home price? Around $200,000. That's for real houses with porches big enough to fit an entire Sunday cookout. Rent? Around $750 to $1,000 a month, which feels like highway robbery, in a good way. Florence sits right along the Tennessee River, giving you peaceful waterfront views that look way more expensive than they are. Locals fish in the morning, sip coffee on their decks, and brag about their property taxes being lower than your weekly Starbucks habit. Groceries, utilities, but like every bargain, there's fine print. The crime rate? Mixed. Some neighborhoods are perfectly safe and feel like a Hallmark movie. Others, you'll want to lock your doors by 9 p.m. The job market isn't booming either, unless you're in healthcare, teaching, or remote work. Still, picture this. A warm evening breeze over the river, live music drifting from a local bar, and you're eating $10 catfish that tastes better than any $40 seafood platter you've had in the city. One local summed it up perfectly. Florence isn't flashy, but it feels like home, and I'm not broke living here. Would you swap city stress for riverside sunsets, cheap barbecue, and neighbors who wave at you just because? Florence might just win you over. Springfield, Missouri. If you want the convenience of a city without the soul-crushing price tag, Springfield, Missouri is where you cash in. Median home price? Around $240,000, but plenty of solid homes sell under $200,000. Rent? A shockingly low $850 to $1,100 a month for apartments that would cost twice as much in most U.S. cities. Springfield is the ultimate just-right town, big enough to have decent hospitals, grocery stores that don't run out of oat milk, and restaurants that range from old-school diners to trendy barbecue joints. Yet, the cost of living stays around 15 to 20% below the national average. But let's talk reality. The weather here has moods. One day you're in a hoodie. The next day you're regretting not installing storm shutters because a tornado decided to drop by. Traffic? Not bad at all. Unless you can a full country breakfast, eggs, bacon, biscuits, gravy, for $6. Outside, the streets are quiet. People actually smile at you, and you're not panicking about your rent check. One Springfield resident nailed it. It's not fancy, but my wallet sleeps better here. Would you trade big city nightlife for affordable comfort, great food, and a town where your neighbors still hold doors open for you? Springfield makes that trade tempting. Toledo, Ohio. If you've ever wanted big city perks without big city rent, Toledo, Ohio might feel like cheating. Median home price? Around $128,000. That's not for a fixer-upper shack. You can actually find 3-bedroom family homes under $130,000. Rent? Around $800 to $975 a month, which is laughably cheap compared to most U.S. cities. Toledo gives you the best of both worlds. Actual city amenities, real hospitals, shopping, decent schools, at small-town prices. It even has Lake Erie views if you pick the right neighborhood. Plus, groceries, gas, and utilities are 20 to 30% below national averages. But before you start browsing Zillow, know this. Toledo is a city of contrasts. Some neighborhoods are clean, quiet, and downright charming. Others, let's just say you'll want to double lock your doors. It's a city where you can drive 10 minutes and go from suburban comfort to boarded-up storefronts. Still, picture this. You're sipping $2 coffee on your porch, mortgage payment so low it feels like a typo, and you're 15 minutes from a lake, restaurants, and an actual zoo. One local said it best. In the right part of town, Toledo feels like a secret deal no one's talking about. So, would you roll the dice for cheap housing, big city convenience, and a little extra cash in your pocket every month? Toledo is for people who can handle a gamble and win. Texarkana, Arkansas, Texas. 2 states, 1 cheap life. Texarkana is the weird little loophole in America's housing market. A town split between Arkansas and Texas where life is cheap no matter which side you pick. Median home price? Around $160,000 to $200,000, and you can still find decent starter homes under $150,000 if you're quick. Rent? Around $850 a month. The cost of living here sits at about 25% below the national average, which means groceries, utilities, and gas won't make you cry at checkout. And thanks to the Texas side, you can enjoy no state income. You'll need to get used to locals asking, Arkansas side or Texas side? As if it's a personality test. And don't expect luxury shopping or trendy restaurants. This is more Cracker Barrel than craft cocktails. Still, picture this. You're sitting on your porch, iced tea in hand, bills paid without panic, and your biggest stress is deciding which state's Walmart to shop at. One local put it perfectly. We're not fancy, but our bank accounts are happier than yours. Would you trade big city excitement for 2-state bragging rights, small town prices, and neighbors who probably know your dog's name? Texarkana proves you don't need millions to live comfortably. Just a good sense of humor about the speed of life. Brownsville, Texas. If you've ever dreamed of living near the coast without selling a kidney, Brownsville, Texas is your golden ticket. Median home price? Around $190,000. Rent? Around $700 to $1,000 a month, making it one of the cheapest coastal cities in America. Brownsville sits right near the Gulf of Mexico, giving you beach trips, warm winters, and palm trees for a fraction of what you'd pay in Florida or California. Groceries and utilities are among the lowest in the country, and, thanks to Texas, there's no state income tax. But cheap comes with trade-offs. Summers are brutal, sticky, and mosquito-infested. The job market is limited unless you're in education, healthcare, or willing to commute. And don't expect luxury beach resorts. Brownsville is more about quiet sunsets than fancy cocktails. Still, picture this. It's January, you're sitting outside in shorts, sipping a cold drink, while your friends up north are shoveling snow. Your rent's paid, your bank account is it. You move here for peace and cheap living, not to impress Instagram. Would you trade big city nightlife for coastal breezes, cheap tacos, and bills so small you feel like you hacked the system? Brownsville might just be the ultimate cheat code. Florence, South Carolina. If you want historic charm, mild weather, and bills so low it feels like a typo, Florence, South Carolina is a serious contender. Median home price? Around $220,000. That's for real houses, many with big porches and shady yards perfect for sweet tea afternoons. Rent? Around $850 to $1,000 a month, making it one of the most affordable mid-sized towns on the East Coast. Florence has that classic southern vibe, tree-lined streets, historic downtown buildings, and diners where breakfast costs less than a fancy coffee in New York. Healthcare is solid, thanks to a major regional medical center, and groceries, utilities, and gas are all comfortably below the national average. But don't expect life here to be exciting. It's a slow-paced, family-centered town where nightlife means an evening stroll or catching a local high school football game. Summers are humid enough to make your hair give up, and you'll want bug spray if you plan to enjoy your porch swing after dusk. Still, picture this. You're rocking gently on that porch swing, evening breeze drifting through, neighbors waving as they walk their dogs. Your rent or mortgage is so cheap you barely think about it, and the loudest sound at night is crickets, not traffic. One resident summed it up perfectly. Florence isn't flashy, but my stress level is lower than my utility bill. Would you give